Take a Ride podcast. I'm your host here, Starks. You can find me on my Twitter handle. It's at Starks_industry. You can also find me on Instagram, One Closing Hero. I'm not here alone this evening, morning, afternoon, wherever you may be in the fantasy world. I have the combo guard running the two, Jacob, the White Knight. How you doing today, brother?
I'm doing great, brother. 9 days until Christmas, so I'm just getting excited for that.
Yeah, let's go ahead and stop this recording because LT, I see nothing in the background of the light there, brother.
Oh, yeah. Oh, don't worry.
Don't worry.
Don't worry. Just keep going. Don't worry. Be happy.
We're just gonna go ahead and go live with this. Huh? That's fine. Hey, I knew it, man. You know, this is one of those things that you want to be dirty and do things underneath the rug on us. I don't know what that's about, but hey, that's fine. So not only Jacob, the White Knight, we have LT the Sage running the wing at the 3. How you doing today, brother?
Doing good. Can y'all see it now?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I can see it, but I see frozen in the background.
Frozen.
I've only seen
frozen pizza.
Frozen pizza. Is it frozen for you, White Knight?
Nah.
But you know what? It doesn't matter because I'm used to getting the short end of the stick in podcasts nowadays. So I'll just go ahead and roll with it.
Okay.
Rival. That's how you kind of treat me. And honestly, you know, Jacob is going to take. Well, go ahead, LT. What you got to say, man?
Hey, nothing, man. Hey, we believe in you. We know you got the chops to do it, and we believe in you, man. You got this, man. Got the eagle wings on.
Yeah, you're trying to gas me.
Look at the eagle wings. I see the eagle wings on your shirt, man. You got this, man. Fly high.
Yeah, I bet, man. So let me go ahead and get to the content real quick. Listeners, we appreciate you. I do apologize for the inconvenience. I'm really going on based off of memory in this episode. So in this episode in particular, we are going to go over some recent news for the first quarter, second quarter. We are going to go over a segment that LT has for us in the second quarter that's going to be interesting. I think it's who would you rather have. And in third quarter, we're going to play a little game of a guess who game, but I'll add a little spice into it to kind of throw the gentleman off here. And in the fourth quarter, we'll go into maybe a little extra incentive on the clutch shot. So you guys, real quick, the commercial break is, as you know, go to newlifefantasy.com. Make sure you join the mailing list, join as a member. Not only that, go ahead and go to YouTube, subscribe Sub-Zero style to that subscribe button. Hit that bell. It's dinner time. Comment below. Give us a thumbs up. Also, subscribe to the podcast. We're available in pretty much all podcast formats. We are running a listener league. So for those that are interested, make sure you join as a member on the list and shoot us your email. That way we can get you squared away and square you in. And then we can kind of get into maybe a dynasty format, or if you want a redraft, or if you want a points format. But we are going to run about 20-man league. That's going to be fun, competitive, and free. So let us know. So with that being said, I am ready to take people on for a ride. I'll pass you the ball there, Jacob. Some recent news there, brother.
All righty. With some recent news. First up, we have Myles Turner. Last night, he had a breakout game. He had a double-double, including 5 blocks. So I'm going to pass the ball to you there, Starks, because that's your boy. What do you think of that performance?
That's a good game. And honestly, if there's a guy, and I've said this before this season started, obviously Myles Turner's a good talent, but I was going to say that I think a regression was going to come this year. And the reason why is it's just more of a gut feeling. And this is the type of game that I would actually potentially sell high on him. Mm-hmm. And I know that sounds weird because he's especially my guy, but I don't know. It just doesn't seem like this is going to be a person that's going to sustain the top 25-ish, 30-ish value that he did last season. So I'm a little concerned in particular. And I know LT has, he was like, hey, Starks, Sabonis might be, better. He could potentially be. I wouldn't say that. It goes by what your team build is. But I will say Domantas Sabonis is getting better each year, so that is good. And honestly, in a points league, Sabonis easily over Myles Turner. But for a 9-cat category league, I'm not going to make that decision yet. And that's kind of where I stand. But in a sense, I think that's a good game, and I'm going to actually try to sell him. And LT, I'll pass you the ball. What's your thoughts, man?
Man, I don't got too much to say. It's Myles Turner. You like him for the popcorn block stats, right? So I mean, if you look at had the stats up, he has a 5-block game just this recent game, but this is the first time he's added a double-double with that. So that's what you expect from him. You expect him to be a big man down low, get those rebounds, get those double-doubles, but Sabonis is the one kind of stealing all those rebounds from him. Even last year, to be honest with you, he's actually averaging less, about 2 less rebounds than he did last year. And about 2 less points, and he's just still a little bit under his block total. So I mean, he's a block specialist. That's what he is. We thought he was a little bit more than that. Hopefully he can bounce back and show us that he's a little bit more than just a block specialist moving forward.
Very solid. Very solid.
Go ahead, Jacob.
Yeah, so next up, I wanted to bring up the Time Lord himself, Robert Williams. He's going to be out for 3 weeks. He wasn't getting much minutes before this, but now it's just, now that he's out 3 weeks, I'm going to pass the ball here to you, LT. Who do you think is going to pick up the slack for those, 12, 15, 18 minutes that he's going to be leaving behind?
Man, looks like his time is up.
Yeah.
Sorry, I had to do it. I mean, I wrote down something. Oh wait, looks like it was a thesis. Of course, it's going to be the thesis. He's already took most of his time away from the Time Lord, unfortunately, and so I just think he's going to get more run now. But I'll pass the rock over to you, Starks. Is there anybody like a deep league guy over on the Celtics that you think is going to come out on top here, or maybe Taco?
Oh man, I am struggling hard over here, but I'm just going to, like I said, this is going to be the hardest episode that I do, but I want to do the best I can. I think it must be the snow here in Ohio that's giving me some hard times here. But I think, I know you had mentioned the thesis, Daniel Tice, I think is his name.
Yeah.
So I will say this, maybe the Canard burgers, Canard burgers will get a little bit more minutes. Sure. And I don't know if you knew this, LT, but last year, if you guys are familiar, this guy ate 7 hamburgers and got 6. That's why I call him the Canard burger. He had to miss some games. And it kind of reminds me of a player we're going to talk about here pretty soon. I'm sure Jacob has. But anyways, I think Enes Kanter is going to pick up the slack. You can even maybe say semi-automatic Ojale. He could get some minutes too. But that's all I got there. And even Brad Wanamaker, the Juwanna man. I mean, he could. I know he's more of a guard, but that's just someone I wanted to say. And I'll pass you back the ball there, Jacob. Thanks, man.
That's perfect. Yeah. So in a deep league, I would also be looking at Grant Williams too, but just keep an eye on the situation for sure.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah. Thanks. So next, we got a lot of contenders who's looking to trade for Jrue Holiday. Now, before the season, it sounded like the Pelicans really wanted to keep him as a building block, but he is 29 years old, and I'm not sure if Jrue actually wants to stay there for it. So I know that the Nuggets have been asking about it, maybe the Suns. I don't know if there's any other teams that you guys have been hearing, but I'll pass the ball there to you, Starks. What have you been hearing about this?
Oh man, I'm having hard times. Did you guys even? Okay, here we go. I think I'm working here. So what was that last part I was cutting out there, Jake? I do apologize.
So Jrue Holiday, have you heard of any teams who want to grab him? Do you think it would be good for his fantasy value if he left?
I guess it would go by what team is looking at him. I do not know what teams are looking at him. I know we just heard that it was contenders that were looking at him. Now, I will say this is just I'm not saying it's a gut call. I'm just thinking of a team. I don't know why the Lakers keep sticking in my head. I don't see that happening, but it's the what if game. We know LeBron is the big old point guard there running the show there, but I'm sure that LeBron would be okay to cede ball responsibility to another player in particular. They wanted a guard, and I don't know if LT heard about this. During the summertime, there was even talks about the potential. And I've seen memes and little pictures of Damian Lillard. So, and I'm not saying that's going to happen, but I'm just saying, they were looking at guards, right? So maybe, they could potentially get Jrue Holiday, and they don't necessarily need him because I know Rondo's coming off the bench and he's been very serviceable. So I will pass you the ball there, LT. What's your thoughts, man?
Yeah, the only teams I can think of, Starks, that really could, use him is maybe the Milwaukee Bucks, maybe. With their point guard situation there, I think Jrue Holiday would fit right in pretty nicely with that team. And then maybe I don't even know who else it really fits. I feel like Denver Nuggets, maybe they can move Jrue in the Gary Harris spot and play Harris and play Jrue and Murray. I can see that maybe Minnesota too, to kind of put them over the hump, but they already have an older guard in Teague. So I don't know what teams it fits other than the rich getting richer, right? Maybe a Clippers or Clippers or a Lakers, just the rich getting richer in that retrospect. And the Phoenix Suns have Rubio, so I'm not too sure about that. But I can see him moving to a contender. He has a lot of ties in New Orleans, though, with everything that happened with him and his wife, or what was going on recently. Yeah. So he may decide to stay, but we'll go ahead and I'll pass the rock over back to you, White Knight. That's all I got.
Right on, guys. Yeah, I will say as an owner of Jrue, I hope he does get moved because he would be probably subject to some load management games, right? Yeah, if he doesn't get moved, just because the Pelicans just want to rebuild for sure. Next up is the report that CP3 may not get moved. Now, this is super surprising, but not really surprising because he has such a big contract. I know that. I assume that the Thunder are dying to get him off the books, even though he's doing pretty well this year. And he's probably teaching the young kids a lot. But those kiddos over there, man, Polish is the old man for sure.
He's teaching them how to tuck in their jersey, man.
You saw that, didn't you?
I did.
Savvy veteran.
Savvy veteran for sure.
Gotta love that. Hey, so I'll pass the ball there to you, LT. What do you think of that?
I like it. I think he has the best opportunity at OKC as far as value and fantasy goes. I think if he gets moved anywhere, it's in a less than prominent role, no matter where he goes, unless they were, Chris Paul did have ties over to a couple of teams like Milwaukee earlier in the year, and a couple other teams. So it all depends on who ends up being a contender, but I really don't see CP3 living either. I think he stays in OKC and unfortunately is relegated to being one of the banana boat guys. That does not make it past a certain age. But yeah, that's all I got. Over to you, Starks.
Yeah. Listen, I just think it like this. It's funny because they definitely want to get him off the books for sure, Jacob. But I'll just say it like this: CP3 has a ticking time bomb around his waist, and his career, as far as fantasy goes, it can explode at any moment. And honestly, if he stays in OKC, it is a concern because of load management could potentially be in his way. And then on top of that, if he was to go to a different team, if he goes to a contender, and maybe, like LT said, banana boat style, right? We know LeBron James is the godfather of the son, or is one of the other, something like that, right? Of one of their sons, something like that. But anyways, hey, what if he went to the Lakers? That's a big wish, but for some people that are Lakers fans, but I think it's really hard to. What's funny, man? You all right? I don't know what team he's going to go on, but I will say this: it looks like if he's stuck in OKC, it's an unfortunate thing. And as far as his value goes, you got to just hold tight and hope for the best. Because I honestly, if he stays in OKC, load management is in his way. And I'll pass you the ball there, Jacob.
Yeah. Personally, I would like to see him go to the Lakers just to make up for that past
yes
trade.
Yes.
Remember that, guys?
Hey, that is like the perfect storm. I would hope that happens. Yes, that's a good call.
Or if he goes back to the Clippers. Wonder if he just went back to the Clippers. That would be even funnier.
That's a good one too. Yeah, that's a good one too. Or hey, maybe he goes to the Bucks off that commercial too, right?
Let's go. Hey, I would like to see it.
Yeah, absolutely. So next, Kevin Love. It's reported that the Suns and the Blazers are eyeing him. They're giving him the eye. So I want to get your thoughts on that, Starks. Do you think that's feasible? And do you think his value would change for either team?
Man, I feel like his value would change if he went to the Suns, surprisingly, because the Suns are not the worst team this year. But I don't know why the Suns would be willing to try to get him. It doesn't seem like that's the right direction. But again, I mean, it's like maybe it could work to get them potentially on the West Conference, like, just on the West side to get them in the playoffs with Kevin Love. But how far is Phoenix going to really get if they made the playoffs with Kevin Love? We know the injury history behind him. He needs to be more on a team that could be potentially stronger, right? Now, Portland, I'll save it for LT. I will say this. I will be shocked, and I've told this to LT a few episodes ago. I would be shocked if he went to Portland. And I know that's the biggest rumor going around, and a lot of people think that. For me, I don't think that way, but I will pass you the ball to LT. What's your thoughts, man?
Yeah. It's funny because the Portland and Phoenix are playing tonight. And we're getting smashed. We're getting Atlanta. We're getting United States smashed, All Might style. But basically, Kevin Love can't save Portland, right? Even if we got Kevin Love, I don't think that changes where the team is at right now. We need to be healthy, and we're kind of skating too far back now. I don't know. I would like to get Kevin Love maybe for next year, maybe for a one-time only next year, to give us an ability to go all in for next year. But then to be honest with you, I don't think it's a good idea. But I have a feeling that's going to happen. So that's all I got. Over to you, White Knight.
Right on. Next up, it is being reported that Michael Porter Jr. is untouchable for the Nuggets. Untouchable is a very strong word. Usually when a team is trying to blow smoke, they usually say like there's no way we're trading him, stuff like that. But untouchable is a pretty strong word. They're either trying to drive up the asking price, or they really do think of him as a cornerstone piece. So I'm going to hot potato pass the ball back to you, LT. Do you think that the Nuggets are open to trading anyone else on that team? Do you think this is all smoke or what?
I think the Nuggets are smart. I think they're smart not to make him untouchable. I don't think they need to do anything, right? They don't have to trade anybody. Their team's pretty deep. They can say that, and then a team may try to, they can have teams come at them with crazy trade offers, and they have to just wait it out. They don't have to trade him or anybody else on that team to be contenders in the West. So they're playing it smart. I like how they're playing the poker game. What do you think, Starks?
I'm gonna do a fast pass to Jacob there. Lies. Jacob.
I'm ready. What do you mean? What's that?
He said lies.
So what I'm just saying real quick is just lies. I don't. Yeah, that's
lies. Okay.
Yeah. They're
blowing smoke. Gotcha.
Yeah, I think that I'll just say this real quick. I think it's lies. I mean, it's definitely a good. The GM, like LT said, it's really smart for what they're saying. But I don't believe it. And Denver is a really good organization in particular, but I don't think a player like that is going to be untouchable. I mean, we haven't seen anything on the court. Maybe they see something in practice that we're not seeing, but this is a player that had, a lot of upside coming from college, and he's been dealing with injuries, and I just still think it's lies. But I'll pass you the ball there, Jacob.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to see them trade him just because they're not playing him. And if he was untouchable in that value, they would definitely try to find him some minutes, right? But I did hear that they're trying to trade or they are listening to offers for Malik Beasley, and he is a solid point guard, shooting guard, who's actually his fantasy value would take a jump. So I would definitely keep an eye out on him if they do trade him, especially to the right situation. So moving on, Lonzo Ball. I'm going to pass the ball to you there, Starks. What are your thoughts on him? Like, would you try to sell? Would you try to sell him? Would you try to buy low? Do you believe in him this year or in a dynasty?
In a redraft league, I don't believe in him this year, especially when Zion Williamson comes back. In a dynasty format, I'll give him a chance. And I know he was kind of a guy that I believe that could have a bounce back season. It doesn't seem to be that way. He's going to be, I think, still in the future. Give him another year or so, and he might even be better later on this year. I don't have him in any of my leagues, but he's a guy that I believe he still has a nice potential. But right now, it's not looking good. I'll pass you the ball there, LT.
And I know Starks is having. I'm going to go ahead and do a quick game break update for our listeners. Drew Brees has officially broke the record for the most passing touchdowns in the NFL history. So he just passed Peyton Manning. So I wanted to make a break. That's our guy, Drew Brees. He's a fellow man of faith. So I wanted to go ahead and just say congratulations to Drew Brees there on his accomplishments. And I used to smoke. Awesome. I used to smoke Starks with the Saints back in the day. Also wanted to mention that. In Madden. Anyways, on the Lonzo.
I want to steal the ball. I want to steal the ball real quick. I got a news report too for y'all. Isaiah Thomas, the pizza guy, came back tonight. Scored 23. Go ahead, LT.
Really? All right.
That's actually perfect. That's perfect for something that's coming up soon. That's perfect.
We all know that.
Yeah, that's perfect. That's actually a perfect segue. But Lonzo Ball, I don't have much to say about Lonzo Ball. He is who we thought he was. There's nothing more to say other than that. I think he can be better. He'd probably be better when Zion gets back, but I think this is who he is. I don't think he's much more than that, than what he's doing right now. Inconsistent. So over to you, White Knight.
Yeah, I personally think this is a buy low moment if you can buy super low, because he usually gets you a few blocks and some steals and those threes, which is nice. And once Zion does come back, his assists should go up. Now that field goal percentage is always going to be a little trashy. So, that's something to keep in mind. But if you don't mind, if you have that strategy of punting field goal percentage and turnovers, then he wouldn't be a bad addition. Even though I'm not a fan of punting, but sometimes you just are terrible into categories and you just have to own it, right? So moving on. So we got two Pistons were down tonight. We got Blake Griffin, who was waiting on an MRI result for his knee. That's sketchy. And then Andre Drummond, he was attacked by a avocado. Very serious. I don't know why you're laughing. Very serious. So I'm going to pass the ball to you, LT. What do you think this means for the Pistons? And, if they were to lose Blake, who would benefit? I know there was a game tonight that will definitely touch up on, but I want to get your thoughts on that, LT.
What happened if Blake were to be out? Nothing. They've been without Blake a lot of the years. So
be better.
They might play better. They might be better. Again, my guy Luke, I am your father, will of course get a little bit more run since he is back. But I don't see anything really different. I'm not going to talk about Rose because we already know he's a main cog in the Detroit wheel, whether Blake's in there or not. But you would get Tony Smell, and I said it the right way. Smell would end up getting a little bit more time, and that's about it. That's all I got.
What about Langston Galloway?
Ooh, Langston Hughes, the greatest poet we know about. He would get he he actually, remember when Blake was out before, he was getting a lot of run, White Knight. You are correct.
Yeah.
So I'll pass the rock over to Stark to see if he had anybody he wanted to talk about on the Detroit.
Christian Wood. Hope you have your wood ready. I mean, he's ready. He's ready to come out. He's ready to put that. He's about to put that wood in that fire. And at the same time, I don't know, LT. You're going to pay somewhere in the end of this podcast, and I'm still thinking about those Drew Brees games that he used to bust me up.
Oh
really
man, you're thinking about those. Hey, those.
Man.
In your defense, like I was a no life kid who just played Madden like all throughout college. So like those. Trust me, I don't think this is way too into that game.
It's fine because that's the time that I had like transitioned and retired. You're lucky. Don't worry, you got me good. But anyways, there's something else about this whole situation. Oh yeah, so Drummond, Avocado 2 to Andre Drummond 1. So that's what it's looking like. Avocado's beating Drummond unfortunately right now. So hopefully he gets better. And I'll pass you back the ball there, Jacob.
Yeah, I hope he gets better too because my points league team really needs him this week with John Collins still just sitting there as dead weight on the bench. But that's another story. But so that is the end of the first quarter. And I'm going to pass the ball to you there, Starks, as we start the second quarter.
Awesome. I think, LT, you got the ball ready in the second quarter. Is it hot and ready to run that offense there?
Oh, it's hot and ready. I just went ahead and caught the ball. And I'm ready to go. So second quarter, we're going to be running a would you rather or who would you rather game. We're going to ask a series of questions, 2 questions each for both Starks and White Knight, and see what player would they rather have. And this is going to be primarily for Dynasty formats. So this is specifically for our Dynasty listeners. And there's a bonus question for Starks specifically. And I must have known. I must have known what was going to transpire tonight because it's a good one. Yeah, look into it. So we're going to start with Starks here, and we got 2 players here. Of course, I'm going to pull at your heartstrings a little bit, Starks. We got 2 players here. We got Kendrick Nunn, your guy, and we got Coby White from the Bulls. Doozy players. We know Kendrick Nunn's been playing. He's been on and off a little bit this year. We know Coby White's been doing the same thing. In a Dynasty format, Starks, who you going with?
So I guess in a Dynasty format, let me also ask you this. How many years are we looking at in depth in the Dynasty? Am I looking to build to win now or kind of like the 3 to 4 year interval down the road?
And for this particular game, we're looking for a player to build with for 3 to 4 years down the line.
Oh, I'm probably just going to go down with, oh my goodness. That's actually a tough one because Coby White has some interesting upside just because of Chicago. We know what Chicago is looking like right now. We got Chris Dunn that's actually starting now, and he deserves it, right, for what he's doing. Then you got also, Zach LaVine there. Who's the other guy? Oh, yeah, Thomas Satoransky. And they paid Sato the money there. Coby White, I think, that when he gets in the game, he jacks up a lot of shots. And that's one of the things about me, as you guys are familiar with. I like players that pump up the volume. And he had the opportunity to do it at times. Now, do I think Coby White – I will say this. I was a little bit off of him this year, but White has kind of proven to me that he could be a nice little potential cog and for those that are building the future. But I think I'm just going to go down, as I said, with the ship on Kendrick Nunn, just because I understand that Justice Winslow is in and out. I know the Dragon has been in and out. I know Dion Waiters, you might as well kind of just forget about him. We know about Tyler Hero. They got all the guards there. I get it. We know Jimmy Butler is essentially almost a guard there. He runs a lot of the offense. Miami Heat is a beautiful team, as we talk about. We love the offense. We always talk about the players there. And like I said, I like what made me kind of still take Kendrick Nunn. Now I know Nunn has been a little bit on the slower pace this year. I think he's been, from what I checked, he was about around the 108 range in ADP value. So he slipped in the rankings for sure. And I can understand that. But Miami's such a good team. So there's going to be some days that Tyler Hero is going to explode, right? There's going to be days that, Justice Winslow unfortunately explodes. and then Kendrick Nunn is going to be in the back burner. There's going to always be games like that. But Kendrick Nunn, here's the thing, guys, that he's still starting, right?
Mm-hmm.
An undrafted rookie still starting. And Jimmy Butler, is backing him up. Not only that, as I was talking to LT one of these episodes prior to when he was sitting down with Shams, I like his demeanor as a player, right? He has a big chip on his shoulder. And that's the thing is about him, like I said, reminds me of myself when it comes to certain things in life, is because I carry maybe a chip on my shoulder because of some of the hard bringings that I've been through, right? So Kendrick Nunn and he's a guy from Chicago too. So people from Chicago goes through some hard times in a sense. Not everybody, just because you're from somewhere doesn't necessarily mean you go through it. But you could just, like I said, you could just tell by that interview that this guy has a quiet humbleness, but he's really hungry out there. He wants to do the best that he can. Do I think it's sustainable? I'll be honest, I don't know, but I will say that he could potentially start falling off and falling away. But I'll take the risk and I'll take Kendrick Nunn there, LT.
That's a beautiful answer, man. I'm glad it took you. I'm glad, man. I'm glad you thought about it real hard, man. I'm glad to see it, man. All right, White Knight, your first one. This one may not be as tough. I pulled the heartstrings for your second question, White Knight. So get ready for that. But for the first question, we got Orochimaru, Rui Hachimura, and Luke Kenard. In a dynasty format. Same situation, 3 to 4 year potential. You're trying to build a team from scratch. You're trying to build them up. Who would you rather have, man? Rui, Starks calls him the future Rudy Gay, kind of has that build, that look. And then Luke Kenard has the opportunity coming in with the Detroit Pistons with Blake Griffin looking ouchy, probably going out of town here the next year or two. What you say?
That's another tough question, man. You are just doling out the tough ones. But my initial gut call.
Yeah, that's a tough.
Yeah. My initial gut call when I hear this, I want to go with Rui. But just so before this year, I wasn't a huge Luke Kenard fan. I didn't think he was going to be anything special, but now that he's getting some more run, he's actually proving his worth. And he's doing more like Rui, like Stark says, he gets you some points and some boards. But that's pretty much it with like some lucky stats because he gets so many minutes just because that's all they have is to play him. But I would actually side with the Canard side, which is very, very like if this was like a few months ago, I would probably be just like slapping myself. But what he's done, and like you said, Blake is on his way down, and Andre Drummond's future there is kind of murky. Like they don't know whether they're going to ride with him or trade him. So at this moment, I think I would go with Luke Kenard, but it's not easy. But that's just what my gut's saying because I think the opportunity's there. Now, for Rui, he's definitely going to produce the way he's producing for this year and probably next. But I don't know what that team's going to look like in 3 years. I don't know if he's going to be the focal point, if they're just going to have Beal and John Wall still there along with Thomas Bryant. He may just be another guy, but a solid guy. But I think I would rather have the upside of Luke Kenard right now with the situation in Detroit. But man, that is a tough question there, LT.
All right, perfect, man. I'm glad I'm making them tough for you, man. My only thing with Rui personally is I want to see him do it with Thomas Bryant back. Luke Kenard has proven that he can do it with the big wigs there. Like Derrick Rose, scoring at a high clip. So I want to see if Rui Hachimura can continue what he's been doing with Thomas Bryant back in the lineup, also, taking some shots and doing some other things on that team. But that's a great answer, White Knight. All right, we got one more real question for Starks, and then we got a nice little bonus question for him later. But Starks, this was a tough one for me. I saw this actually when I was reviewing online today, a review on Trae Young. And Trae Young was looking really good. But there's another young guy that's coming up that's playing really well this year. We've seen what Trae Young done in 2 years, but we also have Devontae Graham Crackers playing at a high at a high clip this year. Now he's only doing it this year. We've seen Trae Young do it in 2 years.
Right.
Who would you rather have in a dynasty format? You're on the clock. Trae Young, Devontae Graham is on the clock. What are you taking, man?
All right, can you guys hear me? Because I'm having some terrible. Okay.
Yeah, we can.
Let me say this also. As soon as you started talking Trae Young, it's like I was thinking you was talking about graham crackers. I was like scared, but yeah, it's coming. Real quick, I will say this to give you guys because I'm having some troubles here. I was going to say also Rui Hachimura, he did actually leave early, exit on the coin, so hopefully he's okay.
No.
But now it should be easy. I'll say it in an expert way. You're going to take Trae Young, and you're not going to think twice about this, right? But my heart's going to be Devontae Graham for sure. But in a realistic standpoint, in fantasy in particular, I got to go with Trae Young just because of he's done it here recently. Yeah. Like I know it's still early, and I know Devontae Graham has superstar potential, honestly. And honestly, I would not be surprised, in the East, if he needs to deserve to maybe potentially make the All-Star game this year. So that's just something that might be a little steep, but I mean, why not? But, as LT had seen him, recently, Terry Rozier, and let me ask you this, Jacob, real quick. I know I asked you both this, and I wanted to ask you this again. Do you take Terry Rozier or do you take Devontae Graham?
I'm personally, oh man. Yeah, shoot. I mean, I did say that. I said that I would take Scary Terry earlier in the year just because of the contract and if I'm looking to compete for the next 3 years. But Graham continues to do it, and my gut is saying to turn to the Graham side just because he's young. And he's proven it. He's not slowing down, and he's playing better than Rozier. So yeah. I'm gonna have to go Graham Crackers there.
Yes, I'm glad I was able to help you guys to change your mind on that. But no, that's good.
I appreciate it.
No problem. I will say this, Trae Young. As much as I love you already know LT Devontae Graham, but I'm gonna go Trae Young here, brother.
Understood. That was another. I have to pull at your heartstrings a little bit, man, to see what you're made of. But no, that's a good one. That's a tough one though, because Graham looks like he has the potential to be just like Trae Young, another Trae Young, basically, with what he's doing with the assist and points. So for sure. And now, White Knight, this is your second question.
Here we go.
I have to pull at your heartstrings a little bit. You wrote an article about him early in the year.
Yeah,
Mr. Lauri Markkanen. Mr. Lauri himself. And who's he facing? Well, Lauri Markkanen, he's been having a little tough little sled here, but he's doing a little better now. But he got benched on Friday. That's you hate to see it. There's another guy that's struggling a little bit, but we love his potential. Can't get out. He's been hurt a couple times, but we love his potential, and that's Kevin Huerter.
Oh God!
From the Atlanta Hawks, a little younger. Look at Starks. Starks, a little Starks, and we love his potential too. A little younger than Markkanen. Markkanen's been struggling this year. He seems timid. When Kevin Huerter gets the chance and gets the opportunity, he looks ready.
Sure.
If you were in a dynasty league, those two guys were on the plate, who would you dish?
So you're asking me if I would rather have Kyle Korver or Dirk Nowitzki. I'm gonna go with Dirk all day. I'm gonna go with my boy, man, Lauri.
Okay.
You know, I'm being like a little biased here, but Kevin Huerter, man. I mean, he's gonna be solid, but I just see him as like a 3-and-D guy. I see Lauri as a 3-point guy, a points guy, a rebound guy with some lucky stats, with solid field goal percentage, and Huerter's only a year younger than Lauri. So if I see them both on a plate, I'm going for Lauri all day. It's not really that tough for me, but that's not to take away from Huerter for sure. But I'm just I'm a Lauri guy, man.
Okay. All right, cool. All right, man. I figured you would go with the marketing on this one.
I had to.
Yeah.
I felt like that was a disrespectful question, but go ahead, man.
Hey, man. Kevin Huerter is he has potential, man. He has potential. Yeah. All right. So this is my final finale. This is for Starks. This is a finale question, Starks. We got two guys here in the Dynasty format. One of your last rounds in the Dynasty format. You're looking to try to either build or win now. Either way, you got two guys on the plate here. You're ready to feast. Who you picking? Pizza guy, Isaiah Thomas, or Derrick Rose?
I'll let you guys do that one.
Come on, Jacob, man, be in this one. Oh my God.
They both. It's funny. It's funny because they both had splendid games tonight.
Yeah. I won't hold too much time on. I'm just gonna. Oh my gosh. I don't want it. It's one of those things you don't want to answer, but I'm just gonna take Rose. I mean, I'll take Rose here. You know, it's hard for me to stomach that, but you know that's just the honest truth. Now, Isaiah Thomas, I know there was. You know, check this out. I don't know if you guys seen it. This guy tweeted out. You know, there was actually one of those. There was like a person that plays fantasy basketball, and he tweeted at Isaiah Thomas. I don't know if you guys seen it. It was like, you know, Isaiah Thomas had put a message out there on Twitter, and it was like, I'll be back in like February, closer, you know. And he was like, and the guy that plays fantasy, he was like, well, and I'm paraphrasing it. He was like, should I drop you? Are you gonna really be ready? And Isaiah Thomas responded back to the guy. It was like, he's like, bro, just drop me. I'm not gonna be ready until February. So I'm just like, bro, that's funny. That's just funny and hilarious. But Derrick Rose, a win now situation. I'll go Derrick Rose. Long term, it almost potentially is still almost Derrick Rose, but I'll leave it there. I don't want to waste time on that.
No, you're good.
That's dirty, LT.
Hey, no, they faced off against each other tonight, so I had to do it. They faced off.
Okay. That's hilarious.
That's dirty. Man, but no, that's all for Would You Rather. That was a good session, guys. Over to Starks for third quarter. Ding.
Yeah.
Yes, the third quarter. I'm going to take that rock. And this game is, we played it before. It's kind of like the Guess Who type of game, but I'll kind of innovate it a little bit differently to make this really interesting on maybe of who am I type of player. Okay. So the first person that I want to talk about, let's just go ahead and do it like this. Jacob, because you nailed it the last time, but I'm going to really try to catch you. Can you guys see me, by the way? Because I don't see nothing.
Yeah.
I see you,
man. This is so dirty, LT. That you
look good.
That has nothing to do with me. I haven't done it.
Hey, you know, this is like a
always LT's fault.
This is exactly. It's like a Lewis moment. He always just puts the blame on somebody. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's what it feels like. I'm just blaming you for no reason. For no reason. When it's like actually his fault, like he'll blame.
Yeah,
that's exactly what I'm doing to you. But anyways, for this guy, Jacob, Houston Rockets, you can't look at anything. Okay. You got 3 seconds. Other than Harden, who's the best person currently right now in the last 12 games? The second best person on the Rockets. 3.
Ben McLemore.
And that's wrong. I'm passing to LT. We got 3. 2.
White's what's his name? The center.
No, gotcha. You're out. But yes, it's Clint Capella. Gotcha.
Clint Capella. Like I couldn't think of his name.
Gotcha.
I said Whiteside. I was looking.
Yeah,
at
it looks like you.
I was looking at that Portland game. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
That's all right, man. You know, it happens, right, to the best of us. All right, so let's go to another team here. So obviously we know Clint Capella's actually been the top 29 player the last 12 games.
Yeah, he's
Nice.
been
I thought he was a player that I felt like he was just going to be a decent player this year, but he's playing a little bit better, to be fair. So let me say this, and I'm having struggles here. Like I said, I'm just going to be like Lewis and blame LT for everything that is going on my side. But I'll say it like this. Miami Heat, man, this is not even working. Miami Heat, who is the best player currently at this time right now? I will pass you the ball, LT, in the last 12 games. 3.
Jimmy Butler.
2. Let's find out. I don't even have the stuff up. But as I'm having this hard time to kind of seal the rabbit, huh? Seal the rabbit.
Steal that rabbit, dude.
This is
what's happening.
Yeah, what is happening? Indeed, I apologize, gentlemen.
That's all right. My guess would be Kendrick Nunn because he's been going off lately.
That's your guess? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, it's starting to work, guys. But no, it is Jimmy Butler. He's been the guy there. So that makes sense. And actually, this was interesting too. I'll pass you. Well, since we already did the Miami, I'll leave it alone. But I'll let you guys. I'll throw a tip off, like you guys got to do a jump ball here for Miami. Who's the second best player currently the last 10 games of Miami?
Bam Adebayo.
Jacob.
Oh my goodness. Kendrick Nunn.
Nope. You guys are both wrong. It's Duncan Robinson. The last 10 games.
Dunkin' Donuts. Seriously?
Dunkin' Donuts. Inside the top 60. Yeah, that's real, man.
In the top 10.
Crazy, right?
Last 10? Oh, my gosh.
All them threes, man. He's been going off.
God, Dunkin' Donuts been killing me like that. I know he's been doing good, but Jiminy.
Right.
Yeah, that is crazy. All right, so I'm starting to get the offense back going after this struggle bus here. All right, so Minnesota. We'll come back into Jacob. Other than Towns, who's the second best player currently the last 10 games of Minnesota? 3. 2,
Jarrett Culver.
1. And LT. 3, 2.
Okogie.
No. This is crazy. We've been kind of like talking about this dude coming off the bench. Jeff Teague has been inside the top 50 for the last 10 games.
Gross.
Exactly, right? That is gross.
He said gross.
And he's been the second best player currently. So let's go ahead and move along. And this one ought to be it. Well, actually, it's a little interesting. All right. New York Knicks, the last 10 games. I will pass you the ball there, LT. Who's been the best player in the New York Knicks? Knickerbockers. 3, 2, 1, 0.
Portis.
And Jacob. 3, 2.
Alfred Payton.
1, 0. Nope, you were close. He was second. It's Marcus Morris inside the top 75.
I should have. I was thinking that it was him, but I was.
Marcus Morris Senior.
He's killing it, man. He has been killing it.
He is. Shoot.
Randall.
All right.
You're supposed to be the best guy on the team.
Exactly, and he's not. It's Alfred Payton has actually been the best second ADP value on. All right, OKC. Jacob. 3, 2, 1.
Danilo Gallinari.
0. LT. 3.
Shoot.
2, 1.
Nerlens Noel.
See, it's funny. This is like that. This is that reverse psychology. It's been Chris Paul. He's been inside the top 14 or 15 the last.
I was trying to use a cheat code because I know Nerlens Noel was number 1 on the White Knights list. Yeah, he's been playing well.
So Nerlens Noel's inside the top. Well, he's inside the top 102. Danilo Gallinari's 4. Dennis Schroeder's 93. Steven Adams at 36 the last 10 games.
Nice.
He's playing better. That's good.
All right. Let's go ahead. No, this is interesting.
Adams.
This one's a little interesting here. let's take out Vooch in this equation. Orlando, the last 10 games. I will pass you the ball there, Jacob. Who has been the best Orlando player the last 10 games there? 3, 2, 1.
Markelle Fultz.
LT. 3, 2.
T-Pain.
1. No, man. I was hoping you get this right. One of you, or at least LT, I thought you get it. It's your boy, Fournier.
Oh,
Fournier.
Oh, wow.
Fournier. The past 10 games here, he's been inside the top. Well, he's been 30. Third round value.
Is he getting stock stats? I don't remember seeing him getting stock stats.
He's just averaging a steal.
Okay.
What's juicing his volume? He's scoring a lot of points.
Yeah.
23.8. He's obviously a lot of 3-pointers. This almost looks like a Damian Lillard type 3 points. He's almost making 4 a clip.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Got a high field goal percentage right now, 49%. It's pumping up the volume a little bit at 16. Free throw percentage at 83%. And yeah. So I will let me just do on a couple other teams and we'll kind of close up shop here. Well, actually, no, I'm going to try to change this up a little bit. So I can't remember. So I think who won that game there? You guys are pretty much on a struggle bus on this one here, huh?
I don't think I got a single one right. So LT definitely won. Man, I'm surprised at all those.
No, this some of these was tough though, man. I mean, this definitely happens. So yeah, now of course I want to have issues again with this, of course. All right, so I'll just kind of do it like this real quick as this is struggling. The best player, hold on for a second, guys. If you could, Jacob, do you see any other recent news as I'm trying to pull this up real quick that came up here recently?
Recently, Drew Brees just no, I'm just kidding. But in football news, the Saints are destroying the Colts 34-0. That's what I have up right now. I'm in the fantasy football semi-championship, so I'm kind of nervous right here. But I seem to be winning here. But yeah, I mean. A lot of the news here, like Devin Booker is out again tonight. So, I mean, that's a little worrisome if you are a Booker owner. I don't know if you guys are panicking there or if you think that he'll be back soon.
I just want to mention Norman Powell had 26 points tonight, four steals, 1 block, 5 assists, 6 rebounds, 4 threes, and 11 for 15.
Hello, Mr. Norman Powell.
Because he's a clone of someone else, right, Starks?
That's perfect.
He is hearing that smoke from Starks, man.
Hey, man, I'm hearing that smoke, and that's good, man. Did you get that smoke last week in the redraft league by me and you there, LT? Oh, you okay?
Yeah, I'll be fine. I think I got no, it's okay. No, it's not okay.
It is okay. It's not. You're right.
You're right.
No, it's not. But no, you're right. I was going to say this. Let me pull this up too. Now, this player has been, and we'll kind of segue and get to kind of the clutch shots here. Now, Christmas is coming here soon, guys, and before I do that, to kind of get to the Christmas talk here, if you guys I want to actually say this about this player in particular. I'm not a fan of this player, okay? And last week, he was 154. He's been picking it up the last couple weeks. Last year, he finished inside the top 90. And here's the stats currently right now. I want you to try to guess this player. And if you can, it's okay. But right now, currently, he's averaging 12 points. He's averaging 10 rebounds. So he's like a big guy, giving you the double-double. And I'll give you an additional cheat code here. He's on the Eastern Conference here. 1 assist, 0.7 steals. He's averaging over a block a game. His field goal percentage is 65%. And his free throw percentage is 60%. Who's this player? He's a big man, and he starts. If you had to take a guess, anybody, you could take your time. After we do this one, we could just kind of move on to the clutch shot. If you want to use a lifeline, you guys get 1 lifeline each.
Oh my goodness!
Let me know if you want to use it.
Let me get that lifeline, Starks.
All right. So Jacob, for this, actually, it's going to force LT to go into a different guy. That's gonna force him and hurt him. So the lifeline that you're using, this guy again, he's on the Eastern Conference. He's a big man. He also, here's another additional information. He also has been in the sharing. He's been time sharing as a big man.
I think I already got it.
You think you got it?
Jarrett Allen.
Oh, he just straight stole it. That
wow, LT, nice brother.
Yeah,
now, Jacob, he finally won one.
Yeah,
but Jacob, you dropped the mic that one time. You took the shot, and I want to give you an additional try on one more player here.
I appreciate that.
No problem. So this name 3 guys that I'm not a fan of in fantasy.
That you're not a fan of. Derrick Rose. I'm really not a fan. Brandon Ingram. Although you're changing your tune on that. And lastly, I want to say Domantas Sabonis, even though you're changing.
Domantas Sabonis.
I gotta give it. I gotta give it to him. But go ahead, LT.
I was gonna say you got to go with Shirley Temple, man. Shirley Temple, man.
Oh man, Shirley Temple, Legends of the Hidden Temple. He's tearing me up. Yeah. That would have. If you would have done that, I probably would have stumped all 3 of them. But no, I'll accept that. That was good, Jacob. Yeah, those are pretty much guys. But no. Just because, and to the listeners, just because I don't like players in fantasy doesn't necessarily mean I'm not going to draft them, because I'm going to definitely draft them if I'm going to try to win. Just like LT, he drafted Draymond. We know how he feels about him, right? So that is what it is. But Jacob, let me ask you this, because I know you're very neutral when it comes to fantasy. What players do you dislike at all, like in fantasy in particular?
You know, it's funny. Before the season, I did not like Andre Drummond.
Wow.
I would not touch him with a 49.5-foot pole in any. Okay, so I took over for one of your Dynasty teams, and I traded him right as I got that team. I traded him for, I think, Jamal Murray and a first-round pick, which at the time I needed a point guard because the team that I had no point guards. And I was like, I want Drummond off my team. This year, though, he's proving me wrong. Now, he is about 26, 27, but I was never a fan because I never liked to punt any sort of category, and you're always punting free throw percentages, from the get-go. You were just punting that, and I hate that. But yeah, I mean, I've never been a true fan of his until this year. He has been making me eat crow for sure.
Awesome. Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm having some struggle bus here. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Let me just say this, because I forgot. I got to do the Dynasty outlook on the player, and then we'll kind of close up shop. There's another player that I was kind of questioning this year also, but he's looking good, and he's playing the part. And I will explain to Jacob, I talked to you earlier about a player that I could have landed in a trading deal, and I pulled out because I knew what the league was going to get mad if I would have closed that deal. And I'm sure it's Jayson Tatum. And I'll use that as a clutch shot, but I'll talk about in this Dynasty outlook for Jayson Tatum. He's looked good this year. He's inside the top 35. So he's 34 currently right now. He's pumping up the volume. We expected that with Kyrie Irving, leaving town. I had him in the pumping up the volume article along with a couple other players. And Jayson Tatum is dressing the part per se. He's getting his minutes bumped up. His points is bumped up. 3-point shots, rebounds, assists, steals, his blocks. The only thing that's been dampering him is his field goal percentage at 40%. Do I expect that to go up? Yeah, absolutely. Now, he's played terrible last week. He shot 29% last week, but he'll be fine. This player is definitely good. His usage rate has jumped up massively at 5% this year, so that's nothing to take lightly. Now, in a Dynasty format, in a 3 to 4 year span, I could see him as a top 15 player better. He could be in that range we're recording while games are going on. Hazonia is doubtful to return back on Monday. But I will say this. I could envision him in a tier along with Devin Booker, because we know Devin Booker is a tier of like a top 15, top 20-ish player, because a lot of people draft him around that area in dynasty formats. I can essentially see Jayson Tatum to be bumped up eventually around that range. So, that's where I stand with him. And actually, I'll just go ahead and jump into the clutch shot. As there is a listener league I'm in, and it's 20-man deep. And there's a trade I could have pulled off. And I know how it is when it comes to, what am I trying to say? When I do trades in leagues, and LT is accustomed to it. So he understands how I roll, and it puts a bitter taste in a lot of people's mouths. And let me just tell you this potential trade that I could have closed. And then people were like, well, how do you do this, Starks? That seems like a taco league. Honestly, there's experts in that league too, right? But let me at least say this. The trade that I could have pulled off, in a sense, is Kendrick Nunn, right? I was actually going to trade Kendrick Nunn. And the gentleman, he wanted Alex Len, right? And I could have got Jayson Tatum straight up. And you're like, well, what type of league is that? Again, this stuff happens, right? And the funny thing is, the guy came to me. I didn't look for it. I typically go for trades. I've been laying low, right? So I kept, it was just kind of like, I don't know if I want to do this trade because it'll just make the league mad, right? And I knew where I was gonna go. And I thought maybe, talking with Jacob with this, I was like, well, maybe I could put a pick in, to make it look a little bit better. Mm-hmm. And I just kept going back and forth because I knew what type of explosion it would be. And, and I was just like, you know what? I tried to do it the next day, and it kind of like, he kind of backed out. And the thing is, the opportunity was there the day before. But since I waited so long and I kept pondering about it, it flew away. And so what I'm saying to you is, I guess I put on the good guy hat. And sometimes when I put on the good guy hat, it's not going to be known, and it's unfortunate. So I probably should have just put the villain and glasses on and just took the L, and then obviously people would have been mad. And honestly, if I would have done that trade, I really believe in my heart of hearts, people would have quit that league. So, that is my clutch shot, because I've seen experts when I've done trades quit too. So I will pass you the ball there, Jacob, if you have a clutch shot for the listeners, man.
Yeah, man. So my clutch shot goes to James Harden. Now this isn't for any of the stats or anything that he did tonight, as far as what he did in as far as like scoring or anything. But there was a play in the game. I don't know if you guys saw this, but DeJounte Murray stole the ball from him, and then he laid it in, and then as Harden was strolling back to pass the ball in, you could see that Murray kind of put himself in front of James Harden so that Harden would kind of run him over, like Murray was definitely trying to start, trying to start something. So Harden, he says something, and then Murray just flat out shoves him. Harden, he doesn't do anything. He stands there. What? He doesn't do anything. And so, I'm just proud of him for not retaliating, because Murray just had this upset look, like he wanted to go, he wanted to fight, but Harden actually was just calm and cool, and I respect that. So I just wanted to give him a shout out above all of his scoring, because he scored a ton tonight, as we all know. But as something, I admire that character from him tonight, to just not retaliate and just to stay calm. So that is my clutch shot. So,
Perfect.
Yeah, LT. Some of that Hart, baby.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. My clutch shot is last Yeah, you know how I feel about Harden. I don't care what he does. I don't care if he wins the Nobel Peace Prize. He's still a flopper. Anyways, he's still a flopper. Anyways, I want to talk about my guy, Alphabet Soup, and then I want to talk about Alphabet Soup because I think I mentioned because of Bledsoe going out, Alphabet Soup's going to put on his backpack, his Dora backpack, and go exploring, right? And he sure did. 18 for 31, 11 for 16. He just can't hit a free throw. I mean that's decent only because he took 16 of them. But come on, man. Hit your free throws. You got long arms. Just stretch them out and put them in. 14 rebounds, 1 steal, 1 block, and 48 points. No one else in the starting lineup had double digits.
Oh wow!
And the only players that did, I guess Kyle Qrtr heard you make fun of him earlier. It was actually the second highest leading player was Kyle Korver on the squad. So I just wanted to give a shout out to Alphabet Soup. He, like I told y'all, when someone goes out, he puts that Dora the Explorer backpack on and he goes exploring for points, boards, and all the fixings you need in fantasy. Back to you, Starks.
Thanks, man. I'm glad you. I was hoping you didn't steal my thunder on these players, and you didn't. So I appreciate it. It is funny. He although he did put the backpack on his back, they still lost it in vain. So that's unfortunate.
I forgot. That's what I forgot to mention. I think Dallas just snapped their win streak, right? They had 18-game win streak or something, right?
Right. Ooh, I think that's right, LT.
Let me say
this also.
No Luka,
right? Now, this is what we were talking about in the streaming. When we were talking about the streams yesterday, that's very important. With Luka out, right? We were just asking, who would be the players that would formulate. Jalen Brunson had a really good game as a guard, right? 13 points, 11 assists. We talked about DeLon Wright, and LT had mentioned Seth Curry. Seth Curry had an excellent game off the bench with 26 minutes, 26 points, 4 assists. DeLon Wright also with the 4 steals. Jacob we talked about the back end stats. That's real. The 4 steals, he's going to get you those weird stats as a guard with that's something that's really important. Tim Hardaway Jr., Garley Jr. had a poor outing, shot for 1 for 10, but this is who he is, right? But Jalen Brunson, he's definitely, and again, I was asked, Starks, do you take Brunson or Wright? I just said, I'm just going to lean towards a tad bit Brunson because he's going to get the minutes, and that's what he did. He definitely did. So those 11 assists is very handy if you needed those assists, and Porzingis, he had an excellent game. So, that's what it is. And then coming real quick on Milwaukee side real quick, Dante DiVincenzo. Now, although he didn't score over double figures like LT said, he did get 10 rebounds and 9 assists and 3 steals. So that's still really handy to have there. Curious George, he got the minutes. He didn't do too much with it, but you'll still take the stats that he had. And I'll leave it there. I won't do the commercial. I won't do that for you guys. But I will say this. We have a listener league that we want to try to implement with this in particular for you listeners because it's well-deserved. We thank you guys so much. I do apologize that I had a lot of issues on my side with the recording side, but hopefully we give you guys the content there. We wanted to do a little bit of a fun episode in particular because it's almost Christmas time. We'll dive into some fun episodes here and there, but at the same time, we'll make sure to give you guys the content. So again, make sure I won't give you the long spiel on the commercial, but I was going to say, just make sure you join the mailing list. We have some hard articles coming out here quickly this week. So be on the lookout. Especially Jacob is working on an article this Wednesday that's coming up. And you can give me a follow on my Twitter handle. It's @Starks_industry. You can also find me on Instagram, One Closing Hero. Ask me any questions and I'll answer back. And Jacob, if you want to touch up on the article real quick and tell them where they can follow you at, brother.
Absolutely. So you can follow me on Twitter at @AintDoneYet, and Dunn is spelled DUNNE. I would love for you guys to follow me and ask me any questions. And like Stark says, we're gonna have an article that is dropping on Wednesday. It's going to be a Christmas special. So if you guys like Christmas and you guys like basketball, you guys should definitely give that a read. I hope you guys do. And also today we also dropped a fantasy football article, just a fantasy football appreciation article. So if you guys want to give that a read as well, we we appreciate your support and for you guys reading our stuff, and we hope you find it helpful. And God bless you guys.
LT?
Yeah, my clutch shot is read those articles. White Knight's putting in the hard work. And that's all I got. You can hit me on Twitter at Sage Network X. You can also hit me on Instagram _Sage Network _ And much respect. And I'll try to throw in some more games for these fellas. They're putting in the hard work for you guys.
All right, guys. Again, we love you guys. God bless you. I don't know. I'm assuming LT may take some time off. Jacob's going to take some time off during the holidays, but I will still give you guys I'll still give you guys some episodes this week. So just be on the lookout for that. I'll dive into some waiver wire speculative ads. So with that being said, you guys have a good evening, morning, afternoon, and take a ride.